that Sandy Hook was a total hoax, that it was a false flag, that it never happened, that there were no children killed. And you know that's not true. You know that's not true. But when you say those things, there's a fringe of society that believe you, that are actually dangerous, that I'm deep state. It's just not true. I know you know that. That's the problem. I know you know that. And you keep saying it. You keep saying it. Why? Why? For money? Because you've made a lot of money while you've said it. I know you're, I mean, I know you believe me. And yet you're gonna leave this courthouse and you're gonna say it again on your show. You're saying no, you just did it.
During court proceedings about a defamation lawsuit against Alex Jones there, Neil Heslin and Scarlett Lewis, parents of Jesse Lewis, who was a victim in Sandy Hook back in 2012, did get the chance to speak in that court proceeding directly to Alex Jones about their thoughts about his constant conspiracy theories and actually the violence that he was targeting and directing their way in the years since. Now, Scarlett Lewis there actually had more to say to Alex Jones since she had the opportunity to say it to his face. Let's go to some more of that. Lewis said that she's received death threats and harassment and now owns a gun. We've heard that kind of story before. I'm a single mother and responsible for the safety of both my boys, and I was not able to keep one of them safe, so I'm going to keep my surviving son safe. Pause. The fact that someone who lost their child at school, that then the guilt or the feeling naturally coming from a parent would be like, I was unable to keep one of them safe. You did everything you could. You sent your kid to school, but that's now the standard. I did everything to keep my kid safe, but I didn't because I sent him to school in America. So continuing, an apology from Jones would mean nothing, Lewis said, because it wouldn't be sincere, and Jones has shown no sign of taking responsibility for the damage that he's caused. You're not gonna stop. I don't even think my pleading with you up here is gonna get you to stop. All the damage you caused, the fear you put people in from your following, the way that you've impacted so many lives. I think there has to be accountability for that, is what she said. So she got a chance to talk to Alex Jones straight to his face as he shook his head the whole time about everything that she was saying, because he needed to deflect it from his brain from actually entering, because human thoughts might start coming from that. He wasn't there though for, again, Jesse's dad, Neil Heslin, who then also took to say things like this.
How did hearing other people tell you essentially that Jesse never existed make you feel?
When it's stated that Jesse's was fake, that is an indication that he didn't exist and he didn't live. He did live. I was blessed with him for 6.5 years. We spent more than 1.5 times that. But I cherish those days, those years.
Heartbroken father who's never gonna get his son back. So Alex Jones did actually miss that bit of testimony there. Let's jump down to SOT number 3, you guys, because I want to point out and show you guys what Alex Jones was doing while Neil Heslin was on the stand, pouring his heart out and crying his eyes out over his son being gone and then being targeted for it. What was Alex Jones doing?
I've spent days, literally 7 feet, 8 feet away from Heslin, because we're sitting right there, they're sitting right there. That guy's real. And I thought it was an act when I saw some of the stuff on TV, just because he came off as so, let's just say he's a nice man, and it's not an act. He is being manipulated by some very bad people. I mean, I'll just say it because I got to be honest. He's slow, okay? And his ex-wife is not. And I don't think he's stupid. I'm just saying he's I've got family members that are really smart in a lot of ways, but they're just real kind of quiet and have this way about them, and they move at a different pace. Like they're fast in some ways and slow in others. And I think Heslin acts like somebody on the spectrum, and it makes me feel like an even bigger jerk.
It makes him feel like a bigger jerk, Jessica. He's not a bigger jerk. It just makes him feel like a bigger jerk that the father of this kid who was murdered in 2012 is on the stand, and you're not there, first of all, because you don't have the guts to look at him in the eye while he's talking. But also he's slow. He's on the spectrum. He's being manipulated. These are things that he's saying while they're talking about, and he's already lost at least the decision. We're just gonna see how much he has to pay.
Absolutely insane, absolutely insane. And the child, Jesse McCord Lewis, whose father we just heard from, there's a playground with like an old drawing from him on it commemorating his life that has been vandalized. It's at the bottom of the street where I grew up in Connecticut. I was in school that day in Connecticut. They were putting all of the schools on lockdown, and we didn't even know how serious it was. Like, I know people who teach at that school. The fact that he's saying these things is insane. The fact that he's saying that the parents might have mental disabilities. Why? Because they don't believe you, because you believe your, thoughts and beliefs are truths without any facts. And the fact that, as our amazing producer Emily pointed out, he's moving assets out of the company. In 2021, he moved millions, tens of millions of assets out of the company so that if he is found guilty, there's not much there for them to take from.
That's the whole idea. So at the end of this whole thing, he's preparing for this loss by still making sure that his assets, or at least a certain significant percentage of them, are still his. If you follow this guy, if you want to have anything to say about Alex Jones that's positive, which many people still do somehow, just understand you're letting everyone know I'm with the piece of garbage, trying to keep from saying other things. Here's the ending part about this, because this is what stood out to me. Ben Collins tweeted out this weird exchange that happened because Alex Jones did take the witness stand yesterday and talked about how his show is an opinion show. It's like Oprah Winfrey somehow. But at the end of it, these two parents that we just heard from did actually come face to face with Alex Jones. Ben Collins pointed out what happened before we watched. Let me see what he had to say. He said, absolutely shocking stuff just now in the Alex Jones trial. After the judge left the stand, I saw that she left, and this was 10 seconds after. Alex Jones confronted Sandy Hook parents while trying to shake their hands. Sandy Hook parents' lawyer said, we're not doing this. Why? Because you can't feed them fake videos, is what Alex Jones said. With that in mind, I want to show you guys this full little piece of what happened after the judge left and how Alex Jones then decided to insult these parents further. Watch.
Thank you. Somebody had that picture, so I apologize. I told you last week, I've been saying it's not true.
Yeah.
I apologize for the day. Caught up with this, and then I apologize. So I apologize for everything.
And that he's slow and autistic.
No, I'm slow about certain things too. But let's be honest on air. I think he told me a lot of the stuff he said and then manipulated stuff.
That's it. I'm not talking to you. You're not doing this. That's not even a thought. That's not the way this goes.
That's what we're shitting on here. Yep. Like you can't feed him fake videos anymore?
No, shut up.
That's what you're trying to do, shut my mouth. You'll never succeed.
My son's autistic.
I think I'm autistic too, buddy.
The restraint that these parents have to not, to first off, shake his hand. I'm not critical of families of victims and what their responses is, but the fact that they even gave him that courtesy and he responded like that to continue to insult them and say you're being manipulated and you have to watch out. After their attorney then also pointed out that he's calling them names. I'm not advocating for any kind of response, but I don't know how they don't do it.
Yeah.
Let's move on. How about that? You have a thought? Go ahead.
Just that he apologizes. He says, I apologize. I think I'm slow too. I think, maybe I'm autistic. Are you kidding? You're gonna go on TV and say those things about the parents and then just say like, oh, I apologize behind the scenes. And it's because he knows his viewers probably won't see that clip because he's telling them this case is a waste of time. So why would they tune into it? He's really playing both sides here in a disgusting way.
And I guess hopefully as these exposures happen, maybe people who aren't watching or paying attention because they're supporting him so much will finally see a little bit of who he actually is. But they probably already know.